light. And hello, everybody, and welcome back to Fatal One. So,
Neal, I believe this is your post-mortem, my friend.
So, what went wrong, Neal? Well, they rolled really, really well on random encounters. And speaking of random encounters, I think you guys probably want to know how some things work.
Yes.
Apollo, you probably know this dungeon better than anybody except for myself. That's probably an accurate statement, right?
Could be. I
believe that.
So I've poured over a lot of videos and details and roles.
And you've made some tables here or there or whatever, right? So I'm just going to take off dynamic lighting and we can just see the whole dungeon. And
Holy shit.
if you guys want, we can talk about whatever you want.
All right.
I'll more or less let you guys direct the conversation.
Excellent.
So I noticed the other side of that death maze is just another hallway.
First
thing that I see.
But it is a hallway that goes all the way around and gets you with an exit that comes right near the Regal Goblin. This is actually the fastest, safest route through
which
things.
way?
Is it?
If you go through the death maze.
Yeah, there's just an adult green dragon in the way.
Take a look at this is one of those fun mechanics.
It is chained down, so that...
It is chained, it can't move, and there's just one set of doors. It's actually quite easy to move through this.
Fair enough.
Oh,
So all that needs to happen is knowing the passage through the death maze, and then we should be able to fast and not even furiously go all the way down that.
And then finding the secret door at the end.
Which, that is an easy secret door to find. That one is a DC 10 to find from that side. From the other side, it is a DC 20.
Oh, man. Okay, I have a question. So this, the Minotaur area, I see that once you get through the laser, like the green skull maze, the insta-death traps, and then you go right and back south, there's Minotaurs and Goblins, and then these 3 tables.
Oh, let me see where you are. Yeah, okay. So you go through the death maze over here. You come over here, you go down to this, and there was a Minotaur, a buttload of Goblins, there's pits, there's all sorts of fun stuff here. There are 3 tables with magic items. One of them is a +5 longsword. One of them is a magic item called an Oath Bow from the DMG. I don't remember what it does off the top of my head, but it's really good. And the other one are the Robes of the Arch Magi. They're like 3 of the strongest magic items that you can find in the DMG. +5 longswords are actually not in the DMG. So
this is how we're meant to kill the hobgoblin.
That would be a huge help.
It would be a huge help. Let's just take
goblins, but I mean, it's just goblins.
a couple of well-placed fireballs can take care of that room. There's space, so it's actually going to be a little bit difficult to hit too many with them, but it's not a bad battle. And then if you can survive it, you can short rest. It should be doable, especially since to get here, there's not much in your way. What is the Oath Bow? I need to know. LMNOP. When knocked with an arrow, blah, 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 you can make a ranged weapon attack. The target of your attack becomes your sworn enemy until it dies. When you make a ranged attack against your sworn enemy, you have an advantage on your roll. In addition, your target gains no benefit from cover, and then you do an extra 3d6 damage.
Wow.
Ooh,
So
3d6.
advantage and extra 3d6 damage with a bow. Pretty solid, especially if you are a sharpshooter or a ranger with multiple attacks, etc. And I don't remember Robes of the Archmagi.
Neal, there's this like room that is not connected to anything with a chest in it.
There's a lot of those I'm noticing.
There are a lot of chests here. Let's talk about chests.
It looks like a lot of secret rooms. That
There are a
no one
lot.
can find.
There are tons of secret rooms you guys didn't find. Chests come in 3 types. The common red ones are pretty boring. There's a treasure table for them. It's just low-level stuff. Potions of invulnerability, speed, prayers of healing, scrolls of resistances, scrolls of ice knife, etc. +1 magic weapons of +1 magic missile weapons. The blue chests have some cooler stuff in them. They've got Amulet of Health, gives you 19 con, Boots of Elvenkind, Boots of Levitation, Boots of Striding and Springing, Bracers of Defense, Brooch of Shielding, Cloak of Protection, Elven Chainmail, Gauntlets of Ogre Power, Rings of Protection, Rings of Resistance, Shields +1, Hammers +1, Axes +1, Swords, Spears, Bows, Slings +1, or like groups of 5 healing potions. And then there are a few select super special chests that can be found somewhere. Over here, kind of near the summoning room, there's a room with one of them.
Yeah.
Oh
These
my god,
have-
there is a secret entrance down that corridor.
Bracers of Archery, a Dragon Slayer Longsword, a Dwarven Throwing Hammer, figurines of Wondrous Power, Flame Tongue Longswords, Frostbrand Longswords, Gloves of Thievery, Horns of Blasting, Mantles of Spell Resistance, Scimitars of Speed, Stabs of Healing, and Sunblade.
Wow.
Sunblade, damn.
Yeah, so good shit. All right, next
I like
question.
this room that is nothing but like 20 red chests.
Yeah.
Oh, most of those are mimics.
I like this room where it's just like a series of doors that leads to a chest.
Where's our mimics room?
Yeah, it's.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. You guys also missed one of the best RP function in the game. You almost came to it twice. I'll bring you over here. Where is it?
Knights?
Can you ping us over there?
Yeah, I'll ping you. You guys know that portal room where you get teleported and then it's just like this big endless maze and everything?
Yeah.
Well, if you are clever and you go here and then you head down and you get past this room with zombies and vampire spawn, you come to a long rest room.
Oh, you monster.
There is some RP that you have to get past these knights that defend it. You've got to talk your way through it. But if you can talk your way past these badass knights, they will give you a long rest in their small little keep here.
Huh.
Jesus Christ, Neal, that is really strong.
Wow.
I mean, you just got to talk your way past the knights. The zombies ain't that bad.
Yeah, zombies are pretty easy.
No, I mean
unless-
the long rest. That's like, in my head, that just became immediately the most obvious best way to do this thing.
Well, it's difficult. You got to fight through a lot of stuff to get here, and it's kind of it's a risk reward thing. And then you got to ask yourself, is it worth like playing for 4 hours to get a long rest to make just a little bit of progress?
Right, because
there's
no
a
way to get to the Regal Goblin from there, is there?
No, you got to go back through a teleporter room, which brings you back to the area. So it's really only useful if you like want to come through and loot this whole area and then take a long rest and then continue back. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, that's probably fair.
So,
Can I ask you a question, Neal? Oh, sorry. Go first, Apollo. You deserve it.
So, I'm noticing on the right side near the two dragons with the riddle.
Oh yeah.
That whole right wall. There's that like 3rd level chest over here that's hidden, and there's no way in. There's these other chests below it, and even further down. And it looks like in the bottom right corner, there's even another one that looks like it connects but doesn't.
Right.
So can you explain all these like hidden rooms and because we tried in that bottom right area.
What is the DC for these hidden doors?
This one on the very, very bottom is DC 20. Actually, all 3 of these are DC 20s that you're calling out, which might have been a little high for a 10-minute search. But
are there any above that anywhere in the dungeon, or is that the highest?
Let's see. There are. I don't think there are any hidden things that are higher than DC 20. There are some traps that are higher than DC 20 to avoid, but nothing hidden.
Because I actually have a character built that has a passive perception
21 passive,
25.
Ooh.
Yeah. You can do that fairly easily. With
But you're garbage at combat.
That would have been really fucking good to find all of these things then, because this bottom right corner is a 3rd level treasure chest. With, of course,
Never found an
guys,
opportunity to do it.
there is, of course, a gelatinous cube blocking the way.
I mean, obviously, Neal, I didn't want to insult your intelligence.
Yeah, of course.
Obviously.
All right.
I just had a strategy that I was thinking of. Could I have cast darkness through? Can you cancel through that invisible field?
I'm sorry, you garbled for a moment. What'd you say?
Can you cast spells through that invisible force field behind the Regal Goblin?
I hadn't considered that, but probably not.
Okay, I was thinking of casting darkness behind it, then teleporting into the darkness.
You cannot have teleported through that.
Yeah, worth a shot.
Yeah.
How about between the rust monster area and the swamp room? What is this room with the blue sphere?
One of my favorite things that no one ever got to. Oh, where did I just lost it for a moment? There it is. Let me find my notes for that. Drinking the water restores HP to full.
Yeah.
But the character takes 1 point of damage every round until they die. Lesser restoration and remove curse have no effect, and the damage cannot be reduced or prevented.
Ooh, that's rough.
Yeah. It's
So
a little
you have
rough.
to get there and then like dash to the end, basically.
It's more of like I don't know. I don't know how it
more of
would
a
work
trap,
for you.
really.
I mean, it would take a long time, but you wouldn't be able to rest or anything after that.
True, but if you're already really, really low on HP, it could be an interesting thing.
It would be a nice way to just extend your exploration a lot.
And more so, it just gives the dungeon a little bit of flavor when you walk through and you're like, oh, this water fountain, let's give it a shot. Oh, I'm full. Oh my god, I'm dying. It just adds fun mechanics that you stumble across, then you might use, might not use.
Water, I suspect no one would have ever drank it.
Yeah. Next to it is the giant mimic room that was never found.
Sorry, can you only drink that water once and then it doesn't have any effect in the future?
Yes.
mean,
Those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chests were regular chests. 4 of them first level, 1 of them third level. Everything else in that room was a mimic.
If someone found out about the fountain thing, all future ones could just get a water skin and then take it.
Yeah.
At the moment of
Could have been
danger.
useful. A lot of things to do here. A lot of things.
What happened to the dragons, Neal? Did the dragons not give a damn?
You guys did not
couldn't
pass
spot it?
over their spots that they were standing. They've got blind sight 10 foot, but the last time I usually position things where they should be for the next run after this, after the last run. And the dragons were positioned here.
So it was just dumb luck.
And it
Sort
was
of,
just
yeah.
there were 2 traps.
Just the
where-
2 in those spots, yeah. And originally, I think we've talked about this already, but originally this room was supposed to have 6 dragons, and on a lark, I nerfed it at the last moment because I didn't think anyone could get through it, and then everyone got through it.
All right.
Regrets.
Ooh, 2 by 2 hands of blue. What am I?
This was kind of just mean. There's no answer. You can just walk through the doors. They're unlocked. If you say
Jesus
anything,
Christ.
it goes off. That's just a dick move on my part. I'm sorry.
The doors to the dragons?
Yeah, the doors to the dragons are unlocked. You can just walk through. You don't need to answer the riddle.
Oh,
I'm sorry. That might have been a bridge too far on my part.
try your best. And
I mean, I figured there was going to be at least one, like, fuck you in here, but...
Yeah.
So that's not too bad.
Yeah.
So Neal, the question on everyone's mind: how realistic is it to have a dig team?
0% chance.
Could you at least dig
0%
through the walls that are
chance.
connected to the other walls?
0% chance.
Well, chat, you gotta hear. It's never gonna happen.
So how about the armor that has the magic circle around?
Don't fucking touch that, dude.
Don't touch
you
it?
guys were spot on to not go anywhere near that thing. Let's
I really wanted it to be badass armor.
Oh, it
They all
is
jump to life and animate and kill you.
where is it? I'm trying to find it on my notes page as well. Let's see. Of the armors around you, 5 of them and their swords animate and attack you. If you kill the 5 of the guys around you that are animated and attacking you, the plate armor that you put on is cursed armor of vulnerability.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
Ouch.
you guys done good.
What about the summoning room above it? Was that just
Pure murder? There's nothing to be found in there. No, wait, I'm sorry. The Cambion that you kill has a dancing sword that you can use on your own. Which is pretty cool, but otherwise it's like really brutal. And also, if you try to open this door on the right side, they auto summon. That's actually the original way to summon them, but then you guys like went out of your way and you're like having fun with it. So I was like, all right, you can go ahead and summon. That's cool.
Chad is demanding to know how to get the magic items out of the anti-magic room.
Yes. How could we miss it?
Furiously yelling at it.
You don't.
Well,
Of course not.
how about this? The Shieldmaster feat lets you take no damage from an effect, a dexterity save that normally has half if you make the save. So if someone with the Shieldmaster feat, who can take no damage from the actual falling, could grab the item, would it work?
You could get those completely and utterly useless items that have no magical properties
useless?
whatsoever. I mean, of course, it's the obvious troll room right next to the spawn.
Oh, it hurts so much.
Of course, there's nothing good there.
Oh, it hurts.
So this three chest room to the right of it. Where's the entrance to that?
The entrance to that, let me just put it here, is, come on, baby, is through the Hellhound room above it.
So there is a purpose to the Hellhound room.
Yeah, it gets to this room with a bunch of cool treasure chests.
That would have been a decent one to stop by the route we took.
Mm-hmm.
Because Mastiffs are nothing and Hellhounds are
Not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
Neal, what was the chance of the random encounters? Just how lucky did we get? Was it what is the roll to get nothing?
So those rooms that you were going through are what we call small packs. It is a 2d6 roll for what you encounter. Rolls 2, 3, 4, and 5 give you an encounter. 6, 7, and 8 give you no encounter. 9, 10, 11, 12 give you encounters. The higher you roll, the harder the encounter. So 7 is the average roll of 2d6. So 6, 7, 8, I think correlates to like a 40 or 50% chance. So it's like 50-50, no encounter.
Nice.
So we weren't super lucky. We were just unusually lucky.
Well, 50-50, and you got 5 out of 6 were not encounters. So that's pretty good. Or 4 out of 5?
5 out of 7.
The mummy room, is that guaranteed mummies?
Guaranteed mummies all the time.
Every time anyone was there.
Yep.
Those mummies were probably the scariest part, to be honest. Other than like the final room, we have very little damage against mummies other than those firebolts, which are absolutely clutch.
Yeah, good job with that.
The Null Pack Leader's Key
opens the door to the danger room with all the traps, which you guys had figured out, by the way.
The danger...
The death trap room with the insta-kill disintegrate beams.
The green skull, yeah.
Right, because the key had a skull on it, and it's supposed to open this door. I probably shouldn't have let it be opened with a knock. I probably should have said it was magical resistance, but I was getting frustrated that no one was coming over here, so I kind of like, just open it, figure out what's on the other side.
Okay.
And you guys did correctly find the right path, which I will just mark right now for you guys.
Oh, look at that. We did it.
And you can jump over the...
Oh, shit.
spaces.
Yeah. Yes.
Flying creatures are hit by disintegration beams. Oh.
Yep. Flying through it wouldn't have worked either. The only way is to jump
That
along.
would suck for my snake, because my snake can't jump.
Yeah, I guess if you had like tucked your snake into you or held it and jumped around, it would have been fine.
Oh, Neal.
I mean, the easiest solution to this was Shadow Monk.
Yeah.
Teleport 60 feet.
Yeah. I
But the
thought.
auto kill tiles are at the end of the room. So.
Right. And then you're assuming you have the right spot. If you pick the wrong spot, you're dead.
Yeah, something like that.
Well, I assume you'd pick the spot in front of the door, which,
Well, I don't think that was within 60 feet, or it was at least close. But whatever.
Oh, I see what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could just like.
So, unless there's more questions about that room, I have another room I'm curious about.
Bring it on.
So there's the basilisk room, which I do want to ask about, but first, an Umber Hulk and 2 intellect devourers in a tiny space. You are cruel.
Oh, where is that? That sounds like fun.
It's right next to it.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Right next to. Oh, there we go. I see it.
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah, that is the absolute worst path to take. If you look at that, you got to go through those evil, god-awful snakes, and then you have to go through the Umber Hulk and the Intellect Devourers. Oh, you can't see that blue water room down here. That's the room with the 37 giant poisonous snakes and the 2 harpies.
Oh my god.
No, I'm sorry, 16. They're on page 327. 16 giant poisonous snakes that live underwater. Super fucking brutal in that path, so when the harpy song pulls you towards them, they all get to bite you. It's pure murder, but if you go through it, then Umber Hulk and Intellect Devourers, and if you get through that, then there's basilisks and a puzzle, and if you get through that, there's gibbering mouthers, which, are they?
Where are those?
Oh, the gibbering mouthers are actually temporarily hidden because they've got auras on them.
Oh.
I guess the auras aren't showing anyway. And then minotaurs and hobgoblins. That's the wrong route. That
is bad news.
Yeah, don't go that way. This is a puzzle room here. The second door is locked and will not open. Oh, I just have notes. I have notes here.
Which room? Oh.
The basilisk one. Statues can be pushed. The door that the arrow points towards between the statues and the center column is the door that is unlocked. So this door here starts unlocked, and this one won't unlock until you push this statue to here, and this one to here, and this one to here, and this one to here, and then the other door unlocks.
Jesus Christ, that path is terrifying.
Don't go that way, guys.
You told us during a break one time that there was an easiest path.
That's the far left one.
The far left one.
You figure out the maze, you go around, you run past the dragon, and you're there.
Yeah, it's just easy peasy all the way around. It should be like a 1, maybe 2 round action to run past the dragon. Like what? One person might get hit. If you time it right, maybe one person gets hit by a breath weapon.
It's a green dragon, so it's poison damage, there's
a clerical spell that can reduce poison damage at second level
to get resistance to poison.
Yeah, not too difficult.
Dwarves, I think, have resistance to poison.
I mean, but overall, though, the path that we took because of luck and things was almost comparably easy. Except for the
because of luck. Yeah.
The cheese over the dragon area, I didn't think of, and was well exploited. Good job,
Neal. Because we took a rest in that displacer beast room, could a thing have come from the dragon room, or is that
monsters can spawn anywhere that you cannot see? It can be on the other side of doors, or it can simply be beyond thing, like in an area of darkness. Monsters spawn wherever I want them to.
Can you tell us about the mechanics of the timing and selection of random encounters?
Every 20 minutes, there is a 50-50 chance for a random encounter.
Whoa.
And then that every 20 minutes is modified by a d20, so either 20 minutes plus or minus 20 rounds.
D20 plus 20, okay.
Well, no, 20 minutes plus or minus d20 rounds.
Oh, plus or minus.
Yeah. Chad is asking a question, Neal.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah. So it should be every 200 rounds plus or minus d20 rounds is how it works out to be.
Oh, we figured out the Primus sex room. I figured that out for y'all.
Yeah, you did. Well, you didn't figure it out. You saw a screenshot.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Neal, Chad is asking a very poignant question.
Huh.
We leave this place Is there any way for us to know where we are, considering I have the Wanderer feat specifically for this purpose?
Yeah, where on the frozen frontier are we?
Yeah.
I said sunshine and trees and grass. There's no sunshine or trees or grass in Frofro. But also, you have exited one dungeon. Sort of. That's all we'll say about that.
Wait, no, but Neal. I took the Wanderer special thing.
Zero application or use in this game.
Zero application. This is another universe that I have never visited.
Zero application to this game whatsoever.
I tried chat. I tried.
All right. Near all these dog statue traps, there's this little water pathway
Dog
from
statue.
the pack rooms. What was in the water? We didn't want to find out, but we gotta know.
Well, of course there were 2 water weirds in there. Yeah.
I knew there would be water weirds somewhere.
Of course there's water weirds in there. Yeah.
Of course there's water weirds.
That would have been fun.
So, water universally meant bad.
Except for the drinking water.
Well,
Except
also
that's
meant
bad.
And that's give and take, so not really bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess water was pretty bad in this dungeon. Yeah.
All right. I have 2 more.
Okay.
So the ghost teleportation trap.
Oh, okay. The rooms with the teleportation. Yeah, I see it.
Yeah.
So the ghosts were just random encounters that you would hit. Because here, I'll just put my notes live on this. And then I'll give.
Oh damn! And if you have to come back, it respawns.
Yes.
Oh snap!
So we can see that you start down here, you enter in, random encounter, you go here, you go back to the bottom, and then these rooms respawn if you try and go back again. You can jump over this red thing if you can somehow open that door, but otherwise it's just a bitch.
Somehow open the door. You gave us so few options to open doors with.
Yeah.
Even the spell that says it opens doors does not open it.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
So what about this room with the 5 or the 6 dogs next to it over here with the 6 chests? How do you get there? What's up with that?
That door has a DC, what looks to be like 15 check from the previous room next to it to enter in. Mm-hmm. And those are 7. I'll just put my notes live. This is an easier way of doing it. 7 gargoyles, page 140. They will follow with their gaze, but not attack unless a chest is opened. Even then, it's only the gargoyle, the only one that's guarding the chest that attacks.
You say 7, Neal. I see 6.
I see 6 too, so I don't know why it says 7. Clearly, there are errors with my notes sometimes.
Okay.
There is a hidden gargoyle at the ceiling of that room.
And even better is this room that people spent fucking forever exploring. There's no secrets in here. There's nothing. It's just small encounter after small encounter after small encounter and brutal death everywhere. The bell that rings loudly is just to fuck with you.
Jesus Christ, Neal.
I thought for sure it was going to just like up the random encounter chance or something. But...
Nope. It's just to make everyone be like, oh shit, what's that do? What's it do, everyone?
Okay. Yeah, I am sort of flabbergasted a little bit. Because, everyone sort of thought that warlocks were the best. And then we bring in a party with no warlocks. I think this was the first barbarian other than the first episode.
I think there's been a couple. But I think a lot of them have been like druid barbarians or stuff like that.
Yeah.
The bar, the skeleton bar. is there anything else to that? Like, will the skeletons like interact with you in any other way?
No.
Could you control undead in that room and just bring an army of skeletons with you for the rest of the time?
Oh no! But there were magic items in the rooms that you guys spawned in.
Oh,
if you had searched that desk, there's a magic item in there. There's a magic item in there. There's a magic item in there. Yeah.
Okay.
So that was actually a really good opportunity because there's a bunch of magic items there, and then the Medusa room you guys could have gone in. You guys really missed out.
Yeah. And the Medusa room has a low chance to, what is this, a DC 15 chance to spot that magic, or that a hidden door passageway to the other thing around it too.
It didn't really matter though. I mean, we already found the other one behind the poster.
Yeah.
So, okay, I think I've exhausted all my questions about the dungeon itself. I have some questions for you, though.
Go for it.
Anyone else have dungeon questions before we jump into Neal's postmortem?
I think we've gone through almost every room that we hadn't already figured out.
Yeah. There's this
There's a skeleton goblin archer big sword room. But...
Yeah, I was just looking at that. There's right below the healing spring. There's a room with 7 or 5.
Oh, the statue room.
6
I was kind of hoping you guys would go there. There are also a bunch of invisible creatures in this room. Let me make them visible.
Sorry, just to clarify, Neal was hoping that we were going to go through the admittedly worst path.
Well, I wanted you guys to explore the whole dungeon. I wanted you to fight all the fun stuff. So there's a bunch of fairy dragons in here. Each of these statues has a reaction every round, and they can take it to attack anything at plus hit, and 2d10 damage to whatever they attack. And they will attack anything, goblins, dragons, PCs, anything that moves. Which is, once you figure out that they have one reaction, then you just send one person and then everyone follows behind them and take the highest AC to tank it. So it's not too dangerous, but fairy dragons have some fun abilities, and there's a lot of them in this room, even if they're individually fairly weak.
So Charos is asking about the Regal Goblin rules.
Oh. The greatest monster that was ever created.
Yeah.
Where was that? I forget.
Let's see. The Regal Goblin has 18 Strength, 18 Dex, 18 Con, 18 Int, 18 Wisdom, and 18 Charisma.
Well.
He has Plate Mail +1 and a Shield +1 for 22 AC. He has 100 hit points. And then the rest of his abilities. Oh, he's trained in Athletics and Perception as well.
Okay. What? Sorry, Charles, I'm not following. Which Regal Goblin's rules?
The riddle?
No, that was the riddle. We used that in.
Yeah, you mean like the alphabet room, the A through 0. Yeah, we used that to figure out the green skull room, like all the coordinates of where the safe spots were.
Yeah.
So
we got it right.
SGT had it nailed down.
Yep.
With his solution.
Totally would have worked. Best route, easiest route if I had thought ahead of the cheese. Yeah.
Yeah. So some people in chat are also asking which room is your favorite and why.
Anti-magic room.
Gotta be the final room, right, Neal? Come on.
So I would have started with the final boss room, but it's so big and it's so difficult to manage this encounter that it quickly became my least favorite room, because like each round takes so long and the action economy gets so out of hand that it becomes very unfun for the players and for me to run when I can't even find all the monsters. But I really liked the concept of monsters continuing to spawn and lava exploding all over the place. But the mechanics of running it were more difficult than I thought. So that stopped being my favorite room. I guess I don't really... Maybe it's this kobold room down here near the spawn with the ballista. I really liked the idea of kobolds with ballistas shooting at players, but the ballista never hit, and it just made me sad. It just hurt my feelings. Then I guess the runner-up to that might be the Banshee Mummy room, which has such a high mortality rate.
Dude.
Yeah,
I liked that room.
Brutal.
Yeah, it was good. Any other questions?
Yeah. Can you tell us like maybe about like what inspired you to bring about Fatal One and like maybe some of the major like just kind of just feelings or ideas that you carried you through this entire process of designing the dungeon?
So I was talking with my wife about a D&D campaign in which people were dying, and she was like, "Oh, is that the Fatal One?" And I was like, "Oh my god, Fatal One, that's an amazing name for a D&D campaign." And then she laughed and was like, "You know what I mean, the blah blah blah." And I was like, no, I don't want to talk about that other campaign anymore. Hold on, give me 5 minutes, I got an idea. And the idea of a really complicated dungeon that's super brutal that people then slowly map out just kind of came instantly. And then the mapping process was crazy nightmarish because I wanted to do it fast and I had no idea how to build a crazy big dungeon. And so I spent, I think it was like 2 weeks making it. And large portions of it got rewritten over and over again to make it better. Originally, it was going to be a centered room that you start in with 3 paths leaving it, which you can kind of see the inspiration for that still starting in the origin. We've got 1 room with 3 paths, but one of them would go to like a lava fire-based path room, one of them would go to a cold-based path, and one of them would go to something else, and then all 3 of them would meet out in an outside open area, which would then have like rivers and other things in it, which would then go to another section of a dungeon with multiple entrances and would eventually end up with a regal goblin room. But I got stuck with the outside area because I wanted to be outside, but I didn't want people just to like cast fly and skip that whole area. Yeah. So I had to scrap the outside mechanic, which then scrapped the whole idea. And this sort of just kind of threw itself together.
Okay.
Why didn't you have lightning strike if they tried to fly?
Cause like, that's weird. Like how, I don't know. It seemed needlessly arbitrary.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really surprised no one tried to use invisibility.
Well, you had a bunch of invisibility wards.
Right, there were a few key invisibility wards.
Yeah, the key places. That was the problem.
But a lot of these areas are wildly passable with invisibility. I think there are maybe like 6 invisibility wards. 7? 8? In certain key
9,
places
10,
they were
11.
there. You know, in the puzzle rooms that gave you the keys to everything. Whoops, I'm on the wrong page. The puzzle rooms have invisibility wards. This room over here after the Mycenids, this hallway, has an invisibility ward. The spawn room has an invisibility ward to just distract people from doing it. This hallway has one. The middle of this room with all the invisible kobolds has one.
We saw that one.
There's one over here.
Yep.
And then there's
one in up there.
One of each of these doors has an invisibility and an alarm ward behind it, but that's it. Oh, and of course the Regal Goblin Room has.
Yeah.
But to be honest, it's actually. Oops.
So was that all that was warded? Was invisibility, or were there other spells?
Those are the only anti-invisibility things, and the Regal Goblin Room only has it at the very, very beginning of it.
I see.
But it's sneaky enough that, like, who's going to cast invisibility halfway through the room? But it was still a viable option if people had tried in weird places.
Goblins would have continued to spawn, right? So, like, at some point, there will be goblins in every square except the squares you're on.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you had just, like, enough spells, you could be, like, invisible and flying. But then you'd never be able to attack, which is really the problem with it.
I do think that, like, mechanically speaking, because this whole dungeon is supposed to, like, you know, exploit 5e's mechanics, haste is an incredibly stupid, strong spell. Kind of in all editions, but in 5e especially, where, like, you're limited on the amount of things you can do generally.
Yeah.
go
ahead, finish.
Yeah, no, I'm just the whole sort of Fast and Furious thing. Haste just feels like an overwhelmingly easy way to just smack a bunch of things.
So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 lava bursts. And then every round I roll a d12 and one of them bursts and everything in the yellow square takes damage. And then every round I roll d8s until they total 21 or higher. And then on each cumulative sum, a goblin spawns kind of wherever I want it to at the start of the round. So that's why they ended up having like really high initiatives, is because their initiatives stack and it's based on d8s.
Yeah, add that initiative wherever you'd like.
Yeah, but I placed them at the start of the round, and then you guys would move, and so sometimes they were well positioned, sometimes they were medium positioned. Yeah.
But they always would spawn before we actually had a turn.
I think so. I did make many mistakes while running this. Mm-hmm. I think you have caught many of my mistakes as well. So there are some things that I might have skipped them one round. I might have forgotten about this here or there.
It happens.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Go for it.
When we casted haste in front of that room, you said, "Oh, things are clicking now." When things clicked, did you think it was gonna work?
Yes. The moment it was when he cast Longstrider, then I was like, "Oh, I get it. That's why they've got these high movement rates that they've mentioned before. They're just gonna run past everything and get to the Regal Goblin at the end."
That's
perfect strategy.
We figured we'd like beat the Regal Goblin before the action economy took over.
Yeah.
And not try and keep pace with it. Although the fireballs did wonders for that.
Yeah, you guys did real good. Real good. I was surprised though, once you got up to the Regal Goblin, you spent a lot of turns fighting just like random goblins, which I was really surprised by.
I think we realized his AC was so high we weren't gonna match it.
We were down to spells.
So
the only way I could like melee it was to throw a net at it, melee it, and then run out of the way so it wouldn't attack me twice next turn. And like that one time when it happened, it was real scary, man. Like that last thing I did over there that dealt a lot of damage, that was like last throws, dude. I was about to give up.
Yeah. Like I think if I would have done this again, I would have picked up a faster character and probably just dropped the cleric level and taken monk instead. Because I was too far behind, even with 45 movement.
Yeah, you were really struggling to keep up.
I knew I was going to be behind, but I had to use my dash to keep up, which meant that my animal couldn't attack.
Oh, because you have to use your bonus action to make a move? Or
moving is free. I can use my action to make it attack. When I get extra attack feature, I can also make an attack.
Okay. Yeah.
But if I would have been able to, if we would have had like 4 of those snakes have +9 to hit, and they do 4 plus 3d4 damage, which will only kill a goblin if they roll max HP and they roll minimum, and the snake rolls min.
Yeah.
So I was hoping to control them more, but I was just too slow.
The poor snake. The snake was like a real good plan to like kill all the goblins whilst we're fighting the Regal Goblin.
The snake is really good at this level.
Yeah, it never really did the thing. I think the snake instead became the greatest taunt minion Hearthstone has ever seen.
Yes.
If you had come for me and broken my concentration, we would have been screwed.
Absolutely did.
Yeah, I'm aware, but I like, I'm playing the game, It's not about killing the players.
I respect that.
It's
way
getting
more fun to kill the snake.
Yeah, and you guys did a good job of using the snake to taunt, so I felt like, you do a good taunt, you should get rewarded for that taunt by having the monsters follow through with it. Well done. Well, fair play. Fair play.
The poor snake.
DC 30 on this trap. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's never gonna be done. And this is the only room with 7-foot high ceilings, unless there was a flying monster in that room that needed higher ceilings to go. The whole like how tall are these ceilings thing was so annoying because it was so unimportant. It made no difference, but you measured every fucking ceiling. Every one.
The snake, man. He could have been high up.
Every
I would have
ceiling.
made the snake really good, but
yeah.
I think the final room had tall ceilings, so you could have
maybe.
But
I don't remember.
the snake's real purpose was a taunt minion, so it's probably better. Like,
the snake is an extra 20 hit points. and it has +9 to hit, which is almost unbeatable for a character.
The snake definitely saved us.
You can't use any 100%. Other. I looked at all the beasts in the player's handbook and in the monster manual. Nothing is even close to the snake, which is part of why Beastmaster sucks, because people always want, like, I want a bear because bears are cool. Bears,
what's really cool?
Bears don't have as much AC. They don't have as much to hit. They don't do as much damage. Like, it's part of why Beastmaster sucks.
Yeah.
Can I rapid fire some chat questions at you?
Go for it.
Sure. So let's see. Drago asks, would gaseous form work to get through doors?
No.
Okay. Manticore we already covered. Goblin spawning. Jade Nest asks, would it be possible to pickpocket the amulet off the Regal Goblin and escape?
I don't think you can pickpocket in combat.
Probably not. I would have said it's like tucked into his armor or something. Seems like
hard enough to disarm someone.
Like, you don't even know the amulet's there until you search his body. So how would you even know it existed, right?
Right.
You'd have to kill him to know that the amulet's there, but once you have it, then you don't need to pickpocket it. So, moot point?
Yeah. Manticore also asks, did you ever think of having a troll exit that killed people if they tried to use it? And I want to follow up and ask, what do you think about insta-death mechanics, especially after we dealt with one in this dungeon? And has your philosophy on it changed?
As a player, I don't mind insta-death mechanics. So as a DM, I don't mind them either. I think they are interesting, and they allow for they bring true terror to the game, especially in a game like 5e where it's really, really hard to die. Insta-death mechanics are fun, and I like them as a player and as a DM. And I know a lot of players don't like insta-death mechanics, so I'm quite comfortable with it.
It's one thing to say, like, well, you fell in lava, you're dead.
Yeah.
You can see the lava and stuff like that. And even that room, I think most guessed it was something bad in there. So it's not like we didn't know it was there.
I will say, on the point of... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm pretty much done.
Sorry. On the point of 5e being difficult to die, I will point out my character had an effective 138 HP or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
Like, when Neal shoved me, I thought, oh no. Like, sometimes instant death mechanics are like the only way, basically, because whilst I would have died eventually in that room, it would have taken so long for like the 4 damage goblins.
It would have taken forever, right?
Yeah.
I feel like instant death mechanics are also really good for signifying that there's truly something important beyond them.
That's true.
It can be difficult to signify that sometimes. So putting a big open room where you step into it and you die if you step on the wrong spot tells you that, holy shit, there's something beyond this. If it had just been like a troll door, that would have been pure evil. And like not even fun evil, just like true chaotic evil. But behind that insta-death mechanic was something really interesting. It just happened that the dungeon meta at the time was, if one of your players dies, it's not even worth continuing playing, which is... I don't agree with that philosophy, but, you know, I'm the DM, not the player, so who am I to judge?
No, I mean, we had a group of 3 people go all the way pretty much by themselves. Because I died in 6 rounds.
How did you die on round 6 again? Was it the door? The
Mind Flayer.
Oh, the Mind Flayer, yeah.
Mind Flayer, and I had like 8 intelligence.
Yeah.
That was I still had fun.
So I had a question that Silver Saint and Pickle Fart also seem to be asking about. They ask, what classes did you expect to see the most or to be the most effective? And I want to expand that also out to group composition. You and I talked at one point about how, like, when you kind of like play tested it, you had some ideas in mind. Can you tell us a little bit about what those were?
Sure. I've just put the random encounter table in chat, and I'll also put the treasure table in chat as well for people to see if they desire.
Interesting. You have experience on
Bone Naga. God damn.
Experience was just simply a way of measuring CR, because experience total and CR totals are awkward, and the way of measuring them in 5e is kind of awkward. So
yeah,
those are the
5e
things.
CR system is not great.
Yeah. So groups that I thought would make a really good run are things that get as many attacks as possible. Because I figured the last room you would have to... I think it averages 5 goblins spawn a round, so you would need to be killing 5 goblins per round. At least 5 goblins per round to make it through there. So anything with a lot of attacks. Rangers would be good. Monks would be good. Fighters, higher level fighters are good, right? Because you get 2 attacks with them. So if you've got 4 characters and everyone gets 2 attacks, that's 8 attacks. If half your attacks hit and kill a crappy goblin, then that should be good. So
it reminds me of the first character I played that had Great Weapon Master and Heavy Armor Master.
Yeah.
At that point, you're taking almost no damage, and you can just slaughter things willy-nilly.
I will say, Great Weapon Mastery, there's no way for you to Great Weapon the Regal Goblin.
Oh god, no.
+10 damage.
Yeah, that would never work.
Yeah. He really rolled poorly on those Fireball dex saves.
Oh god, he had +4 to his saves, and he just like trashed them. It's worthless. So disappointed.
Okay. What about the 19 groups that have run, or maybe even in the process of us like learning about the dungeon and attacking the problem? Like, what kind of surprised you or broke your preconceptions of how the dungeon would be run?
The one level in fighter, and then whatever the rest you want in your other class. That's not something I thought of. Because Fatal One was actually planned in a pretty short period of time. It was at a moment where I wrapped up one show and was like, I need another show to produce. So like, I'm just gonna whip this out as quickly as possible. So it wasn't as well thought out as it could have been. I've already forgotten the question. Oh, what classes did I have in mind? Right, so I didn't really know. What was the question?
It was like, what broke your preconceptions or surprised you about how the community came at the dungeon or handled things? So
I wanted people to map it out and work together, but I didn't expect it to be like one person's like, I will map this and I will take charge of mapping. I kind of thought there would be like a vague community map that would get patched together with like various screenshots and try and like move them about. Instead of this like super detailed, highly accurate map with little notes all over the place. That was amazing. I did not expect that. It was a far greater success than I had ever hoped for in that regard.
There was a map that existed before I started mapping, and I think Bally, you were one of the mods for that. Is that right?
No, I was on there. I looked at it quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where, because I think there were 2 projects initially started. One was based on screenshots, and the other was the Excel. And like after a while, it kind of just funneled down to the same couple people doing it.
Right, and the person who originally started it, I think, stopped updating it, which is when Apollo's accurate map came into effect.
I was also getting kind of frustrated that some of the details were not accurate or correct, and I wanted more detail. I wanted to be able to look back at things and be able to watch it, and so I had a lot of free time when I started. I had less so towards the end, but I hope people enjoyed using it.
It was good. I did not expect the Lehman's Tiny Hut cheese. I didn't really realize how effective Lehman's Tiny Hut would be at stopping people from monsters, like hiding in the hut and letting monsters pour up around you. That was an unknown thing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. One of the big discussions in this group was like, do we take a sorcerer without the hut, or do we take literally any other spellcast?
Bard, wizard, cleric. Yeah.
The sorcerer, like, Constitution saving throw plus the Warcaster is absolute clutch.
Yeah, you guys had a good party composition this time.
Yeah, I think twinning the haste was really good. The ability to throw a couple fireballs, like warlocks are amazing. We know that they have some good sustain, especially health wise, but they just don't have the spells, I think, to keep up. So
yeah,
Huh.
Yeah.
Do you feel like 5th edition still serves a good function for this type of, dungeon crawl that you've designed?
Oh yeah, I would only run this in 5th edition or 4th edition.
Okay.
I don't think it would run in 2nd edition very well.
No, that'd be awful.
Fair.
I mean, the Tomb of Horrors was run in 2nd edition.
It's true, but that wasn't this big. Like, it's big, but it's not this big.
Yeah, I've actually never played through the Tomb of Horrors, so I don't really know anything about it. I'll take your word at that, though. But 5th edition is really good for mechanical runs like this. I have learned a lot from this, and I don't know if we're going to do a 2 Fatal or not. I've learned enough that 2 Fatal would be way better than Fatal 1, I think. But at the same time, I kind of feel like myself as a DM and the people who have been really running this are a little bit worn out on Fatal 1. And if we put together a 2 Fatal, I kind of feel like everyone would be like, I don't have the energy to invest in another thing like that. So I don't know if we'll do it.
2 Fatal, 2 Furious.
Well, that's why we were going to call it 2 Fatal, is because of the Too Fast, Too Furious is actually the reason why we were going to come up with that.
Yeah, that was Jade Nest's joke right there.
Yeah.
Trademark that, Jade.
Whatever. My wife made that joke months ago. You don't get that shit.
That joke's been made since this game's inception. So.
Yeah.
I suppose what's going to have to happen then, Neal, is that the 4 of us are going to have our own spin-off show. That's just obviously what needs to occur.
Yeah. I also didn't expect people to get into the RP quite so heavily, especially the Apollo and Old Mighty Friendly Gamer combination. You guys have run with a bunch of different groups, including
Bal's been here with us.
Bal's been here a lot as well.
Many times, but
many times, but especially Old Mighty Friendly Gamer has really gotten into the RP of this with the bone nipple piercings and everything, and I wasn't expecting that, and I really enjoyed it. It made the game a lot more fun for me to run.
He is a delight to play with.
Yes. We should get Old Mighty Friendly Gamer and Rob together in some sort of game.
Yes, we definitely should.
Yeah.
How long did you expect Fatal 1 to go? How many groups? Did you ever come up with a ballpark guess of how long you thought it might take?
20, 25 is right around where I thought. 19 doesn't surprise me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I didn't expect all the runs to take as long as they did. The movement, the round-based movement, I wanted to keep everything super accurate, but it takes too long. I have it for Fatal 2, or 2 Fatal, if we get to it, I have much better movement mechanics in mind that will make everything way smoother and way faster. Everything is a turn is cool conceptually, but shitty execution-wise. Mm-hmm. Terrible. Yeah.
That's fair.
I also really liked... God, you had a whole series of characters based around the one person that came through. It was someone, and then their fiance, and then the fiance's cousin.
Apollo and Baldo the Banshee, and someone else summoned a bunch of the dead characters with their spirit guardians. Yeah,
and summoning Hobgoblin. All of that side RP stuff was great, and we're going to try and infiltrate the dungeon, taking what was supposed to be a mechanics run and saying, I want to play it for fun, and RP was beautiful. I loved that. That was the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really fun. I'm glad that the dungeon was able to accommodate that.
Yeah.
I wish the snake would have liked me a bit more so we could RP the snake.
Dude, you rolled a 1 on your charisma check. What am I supposed to do with that, man?
You rolled a 1 and you're dressed as its natural predator.
Yeah.
Oh, man. I'm not dressed, by the way. I am entirely naked. Thank you very much.
Feathers are clothes.
Yeah. There were a lot of good runs through here. What's his name? STG and I had a lot of conversations about mechanics outside of the game in Slack, and he helped me really come to grip with some of the movement mechanics that had been done improperly and helped me come to better understanding of 5e, and I appreciate that. Well, let's see. Anything else? Is that it?
I think that's it. I think we're done here.
Any...
It was good.
Last comment. 2 Fatal, 2 Furious should come in 2022.
I mean, that'll give me enough time to recover from this one. So
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say, we were theoretically, the dig team.
The dig team
It's
worked.
a legend. I just want to say, the dig team won. So,
Hashtag big team.
yeah.
Fair enough.
We did it.
Fair enough. Yeah. Oh, the battering ram shit. That was the dumbest. Like the ramming of doors. I wanted to give people a chance to do it, but it was a dumb idea, and like I didn't know how to handle that, and I made some poor calls. I should have just had battering rams be totally 100% ineffective at all points in time. I regret even allowing people to try and ram. The rams were dumb.
Rams were extinct in this universe, so the idea of battering rams never even came to pass.
Yeah. Battering rams are dumb. Okay, well, I think that's it, unless there's any last questions.
No, I think that's it. I think I just want to say thanks, Neal, for running this thing. I am deeply honored to have finished it in my first run.
It wasn't that hard.
Thank you, Neal. This was been the first time I've been able to play D&D for a long time. Kept trying to set up groups, tried to join a group. DM just ghosted, tried to join another group. People got bored, left mid-game, and then I finally got to play. Thank you, I appreciate it.
My pleasure. I am glad to be helping people get back into D&D or introduce them to D&D for the first time. It's an honor and a privilege, really. D&D is the greatest game ever made, hands down, no questions asked. Like, literally the greatest. I mean, unless you want to talk about like sports or something, but the greatest game, unequivocally.
What about the game of life?
Yeah.
That's a terrible game. I don't recommend playing it.
We're probably rambling on and on if we start talking about what board games are good and what board games are bad. Yeah, thanks, Neal. And yeah,
my pleasure. Thank you to everybody that ran through Fatal 1. It could have been really bad. Having random people come and play the game could have been god-awful. You guys could have been the worst people in the world, but you weren't. You were all super cool and super fun to play with. I really enjoyed each and every session.
I think it just goes to show that you have a great community, which has been proven with Stream On even. Getting second place in the participation on that Pixel, which is rough. That was a rough
week, guys. That was a bad week. Let's. So,
final question: how do you plan to disseminate all of the map, the notes, the tables, all of that?
So the assets that I use for these things are purchased through Roll20, and part of the license is that I cannot share the assets, I cannot share the maps. So I don't know how to share it. Maybe I can just maybe I can make it a public campaign and just leave it on the map page and anyone can join it and take a look around, and maybe I can just make all of my notes available, but then some of the stuff is GM layer note. I don't know.
Yeah, sounds tough.
Does anyone actually want it? Like, it's not. I wouldn't recommend running Fatal 1 for anyone else, guys.
It doesn't work unless you have a nice big community like this.
Yeah, you need a big community and you need patient people. So, I mean, if you want it, someone started a discussion on the subreddit or in the Disco or something, and I'll find a way if people really, really want access to the map.
If there's a handful of people who want it, you can just invite them to it.
I'll invite you to it and leave it open and whatnot. And that's that. And when you guys are ready for 2 Fatal, when you've recovered, let me know, and I'll start working on 2 Fatal then. I've done some testing, I've got some really good ideas, but I don't want to build it for a group of people who are burned out. So when you're ready, let me know, and we can do 2 Fatal. All right. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
I think that's just it. That's it. Bye-bye.
That's the end.
That's the end.
Bye.
Good game.